On the 1st of July 2021, a statue, my statue, was toppled down in front of the Manitoba Legislative Building, and over a year later, its remnants were eventually cleared away.
This is the Canadian Legislative Building, and this is its story. This is Anne Benatine. This is Annie McDermott. They are both quite rich and married to the same man. Anne and Annie are not sister wives. They're the same person. Highly educated, she became a leading force in early philanthropy at Red River, supporting the leadership of Louis Riel in his efforts to establish Manitoba as a province under the Confederation. Her Ladies Association did extensive fundraising for causes such as the Winnipeg General Hospital, built on land donated by her father and husband, now the Health Sciences Center, which she was instrumental in establishing. Though she was a major philanthropist and activist, her most infamous and reputable act was her horsewhipping of Charles Mayer, an anti-Métis member of the Canadian First Party, a bigot in the Red River settlement, who had published a derogatory letter in the Toronto Globe, making disparaging remarks about half-breed women in Red River society. In 1871, her home, in which she threw many grand dinner parties and gatherings, many of which were given to good works, became the location of Manitoba's first legislature. Her husband, Andrew Bent, highly esteemed in his own right, was one of the wealthiest and probably the most influential man of his time, also known for his generosity and philanthropy. When the first legislature of Manitoba sought a place of meeting, Benatine offered 4 large rooms in his home, the best and the most commodious building in Winnipeg. As such, Manitoba took its place in the Confederation of Canada, and the Assembly met for the first time on the upper floor of AGP Benatine's residence. Manitoba's current legislative building accommodates the Legislative Assembly, its committees, and staff, as well as offices for the Premier, the Lieutenant Governor, and the ministers and deputy ministers of all government departments, and was designed in 1912 by English architects Frank W. Simon and Henry Boddington III, and built over the next 7 years. This reinforced concrete, steel, and stone structure lies on a former landscape site between Broadway and the Assiniboine River in downtown Winnipeg. The building was constructed of about 10 million bricks, the majority being yellow-brown bricks made by the Stevens Brick Company at Portage-la Prairie, and less common red bricks from the Larry Brickworks west of Roselle.
The creation of the Panama Canal in 1914 significantly altered and changed global trade routes as well as the economic landscape of cities in North America. Before the construction of the canal, Winnipeg held a significant position as a crucial railway hub for transcontinental trade within Canada. The city served as an important link for goods traveling between eastern and western Canada, known as the Gateway to the West, further contributing to Winnipeg's economic growth and agriculture. In the early 1900s, Winnipeg experienced a new period of opportunities fueled by its major role in trade, agriculture, and landmarks. This era of prosperity led to high expectations for the city's future, with visions of expansion and infrastructure. These expectations further influenced the construction of Manitoba's legislative building. The decision to construct a monumental legislature representing the province of Manitoba was driven by economic dominance and social expectations. The plan aimed to establish Winnipeg as a key landmark and hub, reflecting the evolving concepts and opinions for the city in relation to the CPR. The legislature was intended to symbolize economic power, stability, and prosperity to future investors and settlers. There are numerous sculptures and symbols within and around the legislative grounds, standing as important representations, each with significant impacts and meanings, further elevating the building's significance and international ties, such as the World War I monument on Portage in Maine in front of the Ledge, the Golden Boy statue, a appointed on top of the building, the caryatids, which are sculpted female figures prominent to Greece, found in the center of the building alongside the North American plains bison, and various other sculptures, tapestries, and monuments that are still prominent on the legislative grounds today. Another key role that influenced the construction and development of the ledge was related to population growth. The city sought to create a building that would accommodate the expanding needs of both the government and the public, further enhancing and promoting political culture. In addition, the building was intended to stand as a testament to the city's achievements and aspirations to the future. However, due to the opening of the Panama Canal, conditions quickly changed. The canal provided a direct route between the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans, disrupting the expectations of Winnipeg's economy. The canal also created and reduced significant changes to the Canadian railway system for international trade, shifting the expectations for Winnipeg's economy and agriculture.
After attempts to build Manitoba a dedicated legislative building worth $200,000 in 1882 to 83 failed, plans for an even bigger and more impressive building arose around 20 years later, at the turn of the 20th century. In 1912, English architects Frank W. Simon and Henry Boddington III won a design contest with their Beaux Arts classical design, their vision and creativity adorning the exterior of the legislative building with many allegorical works of art, celebrating wisdom, justice, and courage, with the golden boy at the very top of the dome, symbolizing Manitoba's eternal youth and progress. However, this third edifice, occupied by the Manitoba Legislative Assembly, was not without its own scandal and infamy. Hired contractor Thomas Kelly fraudulently overcharged the Manitoba government thousands of dollars, partnering with the then Premier Rodman P. Roblin to pull for governmental funds to their own greedy pockets, though they were both swiftly punished and arrested once the story made its way into the media. Ironically, the most popular story to come out of this construction scandal is that of the missing columns. Rumor has it that Kelly, on top of taking the money from the project, was also pilfering material and used columns meant for the Manitoba Legislative Building for his own front porch. Coined Winnipeg's $1 Million Mystery by the Winnipeg Tribune, the accuracy of this story has been debated for some years now, and it might be debunked in the years to come, but for now, it remains a critical part of Manitoban history. Stolen columns or no, the Manitoba Legislative Building scandal captured the attention of the province and became such a popular talking point that Winnipeg tour guides began using it as early as 1917, before its completion. A great example of this is the William House's Seeing Winnipeg bus tour, which ran through the 1900s and took tourists past all the big attractions Winnipeg had to offer at the time.
The legislative building is a gorgeous work of architecture with equally beautiful grounds that a few years ago held a statue commemorating me, Queen Elizabeth I. The bronze statue was made by British sculptor George James Frampton and was placed upon a stone base designed by a Winnipeg architect named Daniel Smith. It cost $15,000, which was funded by public and private means, and was unveiled in front of the old legislative building on the 1st of October 1904 by Lieutenant Governor Daniel McMillan and Premier Rodman Roblin. After the old legislative building was demolished, my statue was then moved to the grounds of the new legislative building and was situated facing Memorial Park. In 2022, the remnants of the overturned statue were finally cleared away after it had been pulled down as a form of demonstration for the lives of Indigenous children lost in residential schools the year before.
As for the future of the legislature, there is work in progression towards the design and construction of a new monument on the legislative grounds, which will commemorate the 1817 Pegasus-Selkirk Treaty. The treaty was the first formal written agreement recognizing Indigenous land rights in Western Canada. Furthermore, this monument will be the first on legislative grounds to honor and recognize the Indigenous people's contributions to the founding and building of Manitoba, serving as a significant reminder to the historic events, including cooperation and peacemaking between Chief Pegasus, various allied chiefs, and the European settlers.